you're gonna have to forgive me. The charger it was plugged into died again, and I had it plugged into a battery, and I don't know if the thing is broken or not, but it said fully charged, and it wouldn't charge the thing. So not the end of the world, but anyway. So I'm back to it. I'm back to it here, and I'm going to try my best to get this thing to a place where it's looking young and handsome, right? And we'll do that together. So let's see if we got a nice profile. We need to get a nice side view. So I'm gonna be in the way of the camera for just a bit here. Talking about the importance of side angles in this section as well. And so I figure, I might as well actually commit to that. If I'm gonna talk about it, I have to capture those really nice side angles. So I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Cool. Let's see, is this timer going off? Nope. Let's try it again. Okay. Hey, Lucy. Thank you. All right, so I'm in the way. I understand that. I want to get to both sides of this carving so people can see. And after. Move these images away. Excuse my banging around. There we go. All right. All right, so people tend not to get around their carvings and see the side profile. And I did that for years. I didn't really fully pay attention to the profile. And I'm glad that I changed that up. I'm glad that now I pay way, way more attention to the side profile. And one tip, one easy way of doing that is to actually turn your carving to the side, actually carve a side profile into the material that you're working with here. It's going to make a huge difference. Yeah, I'll show you. Here's an example of that. All right, just carving just a side profile. Really gets you a sense of the depths. And they're a whole lot of fun to make. It's half as much work. Okay. All right, the only way this picture would be better is if I could take it while I was carving. So, pulling back with my camera here. Again, this is capturing stuff for the book. If you weren't already listening to the previous live stream that got canceled twice or ended for whatever reason. Battery dying is what I think happened. I have to warn you, this is probably one of the more boring and probably, to be honest, one of the more informative videos, because if you stick around and you stick out the dead silence while I'm photographing for the book, you're going to get some tidbits here that I think are going to be helpful. Helpful bits, because I'm walking this piece through the sands of time. So he's going to start out a young man, he's going to age out into an older man's face. And it's a fun project. For me, I've never done this, but it's also a helpful learning tool for those of you who are trying to learn about the differences between young and old faces. And it's going to be a very prominent part of the book, and talking about how the face changes when it ages. And, I talk about it in the book, but I personally believe that, old faces are infinitely more interesting than younger faces. And I think that is true because in the same way, a guitar, from an aesthetic standpoint, from a surface level, a very old guitar with dents and scratches and nicks and belt rash is going to be way more interesting to look at. And it has a history that a brand new guitar out of the factory does not have. And I think in the same way, a person, as they age, as you begin to gain the weather marks of time, the scars, the cuts, the wrinkles, that starts to tell a story. And I don't mean to sound artsy-fartsy, but I do think that older people are just way more interesting to look at. So I choose to carve a lot of older people. And but you know what? That doesn't mean that younger people shouldn't be represented. There's beauty and joy in youth, and there's an excitement and that we can kind of gain from people who are younger than us, an excitement for life. And so there's all the reasons in the world to document younger people and carve younger people as well as older people. Just because I have a preference for one in terms of the aesthetic or the visual appeal, doesn't mean that it's not worth carving the younger people. So, talking about that. So the main differences all kind of relate to collagen and fatty tissue. Adipose or fatty tissue in the skin plumpens up and makes the skin look younger, and the collagen in the skin, actually in the skin itself, starts to break down, and that makes the skin less cohesive, and it makes it less springy, and it kind of sags and doesn't hold together as well. So you get a more obvious example of the skeletal structure beneath the skin, and that's a really helpful thing for those of us who are learning to carve. And it's why in some ways carving older people is also a little bit easier, because you can really see the forms that are ahead of you. All right, so get into carving more here. Okay, speaking of circles, we're going to do that bottom circle, or the chin, right? So we'll go from the bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin. 2. So we got 1, 2, 3 divided into thirds. Can you see that? Maybe you'll have to angle this a little bit more. Okay, can you see that? I've got 2 lines drawn. Let me see if I can raise the height. Okay. 2 lines drawn there. This creates 1, 2, 3 sections. The separation of the upper and lower lip is going to sit in this third, and the transition of the chin to the lower lip is going to happen, this deepest groove is going to happen right here, and that's what I've drawn. Let me get my focus right here. Okay. Okay, carving the barrel of the mouth. Now I'm excavating around the mouth. I'm actually kind of carving around it so that this mound sits up into the face here. So you can see, notice the scooping motion, the handle coming back, and carving away the dental arch. All right. It's a very chippy piece of bark, so it's a little bit of a bummer, but it's all right. Let's see if I caught that. Okay. All right, so I've got the line of the mouth cut in, at least kind of indicated with the groove carved from a 9. All right. Now I'm going to come in with my util. So we're past kind of the stages of roughing in and getting the basic shapes in using circles. I do want to talk a little bit about the importance of stepping back, something that I talk about in the book. So getting a distance away from your carving, and I know this is an exaggeration because the picture is already going to be small on your phone or computer desktop, but just so you can come along with me in this ride, it is really helpful to come away from your piece and to get a real good sense of, you know, of the overall shape. Because of that distance, you're going to see the overall shape a little bit more clearly, and that's just going to benefit your carving a whole lot. Trying to set up this shot, so bear with me. So I'm just staging it, so it's not necessarily. All right. Let me get rid of my diffuser back here. I don't need to have to stage this to the point to where it looks fake, but if something's distracting in the image, I'm not going to let it stay in the image. It's just the way it is. So I want to convey the distance that I have with my piece, but I don't want to be confusing. Okay, let's see if that turned out. let's try more contemplative, because it just looks like I'm in the middle of carving. I want to communicate the distance. Let's see. All right. All right. Cool, cool. Okay. I'm gonna polish up my tool just a quick sec. Alright. Get the inside of the bevel. And we're back in business. Alright, so now I'm going to come around and define the sides of the nostrils. So now we're talking about getting the major shapes kind of, set in of the features. So we did the major shape of the face. Now we're setting in the individual shapes that make up the individual features. So nose, eyes, mouth, chin, all that stuff. So this is kind of a separate section of the book. And we're starting with, kind of old versus young features, but we're actually going to kind of document this in reverse. So we're going to actually start with a section that is ahead of the carving old versus young features in the book. So now we're at noses. So we're going to talk about what I call the pyramid method, and we alluded to it earlier. It's that the face of the nose tends to have a pyramid look when you look at it from down below. So you should be able to squat underneath the carving, and you should be able to see a triangle, right? This kind of triangle here. And if you get under your carving, sorry if I have boogers, and you don't see that, it's going to be mean that you missed something. Hopefully you can see my face there. I'm kind of zoomed in. Lucy, if you sprayed the bark with alcohol water mixture, would it make it less chippy, or do you not want to use that on bark? That's a good question, Lucy. I've heard of folks doing that, and so you probably have more experience than I do with using alcohol as an agent to soften the wood. I've never done that, so would love to hear if you guys end up trying that, how that works. It's not quite in focus. Let's try that again. There we go. On the top. Hey guys, if you want to like this video, share it, all that good stuff helps me out. I appreciate it. This is a documentation of a book that I'm kind of finishing up. I'm writing. This is a project that's going to help bolster the information that I'm writing about on carving old versus young faces. It's also going to help people kind of solidify the rough shape of the face and then the rough shape and defined detailed shape of the individual features, like eyes, nose, mouth, that sort of thing. So Now, I like to take more pictures than I need because I'm not a professional photographer. I'm a hobbyist photographer. And I know that, I'm going to take a bunch of mediocre photos, and then in the mix is going to be one usable photo. And if I don't take a whole lot of photos, I'm only going to see one or two good photos per project, and that's just not acceptable. So I need lots of good projects. Images for the project, sorry. Doing too many things at once now, guys. All right. See if I missed any comments. Shooting something for a magazine. Hey, Rockstar. This is for the book, for a book that I'm writing. I shouldn't say the book, a book that I'm writing.